Following on from last month's issue, we're going for a similar theme this time. We're at another small data git stroke club water type venue, and we're trying to get bites on short sessions. I've just got here, it's absolutely freezing. There was a massively harsh frost this morning. Thankfully, the old bright spring sunshine has melted that. As you can see, there's still little bits dotted about, and in fact, part of the lake is actually frozen over in that corner over there. I know there's quite a lot of fish in here, so we've only got a few hours. We're after a few bites. First of all, obviously location's the main thing. I've got a nice little corner swim down the end here. There's lots of reeds here, so I know that it's, well, there's no other sort of features like that big on the whole lake, so that's going to be the main holding area. There's also a couple of little reed beds on the opposite side, so they're likely looking areas too. I think first of all what we're going to do is prime up a few spots, and obviously then we've got to clip the rods up. So first of all, I'm just going to knock a bit of bait up, wander around, flick a few handfuls in, and hopefully we can get them going. I've just decided rather than put the bait in first, I'm actually going to clip up my rods first, obviously. That way I'm not going to be casting on top of my bait when there might be fish in there feeding already. So as I said, I've got my 3 spots that I'm going to fish. One is just down here. There's a little sort of cove in the reeds. One is where that coot is at the moment, just this side of where the ice ends. And the other one off the far bank there, just off those reeds. So I'm going to clip that one up first. Should just be able to underarm it. It's not a massive chuck. They're only allowed to fish 2 rods on here, so even though I'm baiting up 3 spots, couldn't have done that better than myself. Even though I'm baiting up 3 spots, I'm obviously only going to be fishing 2 at a time, so there'll always be one that the fish can get in there and have a little grub about without getting hooked. So you've always got a little spot there that you can drop a rod onto if your other one's gone quiet. Right, as I say, that one was absolutely bang on, so I'm going to clip that up, and I'm also just going to mark it up. Standard old marker pen. Just put a couple of little bits on there. Good thing about this stuff is it wipes off fairly easily, so it will last plenty long enough for a short session, but it can just be rubbed off afterwards. A couple of little bits there. Right, just going to do the same with this left-hand one. Well, say the middle rod even. I'm not going to worry about clipping this one up because literally it is about 20 feet away. Ooh, lovely jubbly. Right, and same again with that one. Just mark it up. I forgot my boots today, which is a proper schoolboy error because these banks are ridiculously slippy and I've got trainers with a flat bottom. I definitely see myself going over before the morning's out. Right, get that bait knocked up and I'll best get round there and try and prime these spots up. Right, here we go, bait for the day. First of all, boilie crumb. Now obviously I've done a few there already, so you don't have to sit there and watch me doing it. Now one of the great things about boilie crumb is the fact that it really hangs in the water. So crush a few up, add them to your spod mix, or this, what we're doing today, just literally chucking in little handfuls of ground bait, and it just literally litters the whole water column with fine particles. If there's any fish milling around that area, I'm sure it just turns them on. And obviously they follow it down to the bottom where the rest of the bait is, and hey presto, the fish are pulled down to your spot. Literally, I'm only here for a few hours, so that's enough boilies. Again, a bit more clouding agent, a little bit of the tiger nut stick mix, and then a couple of handfuls of corn, and same again in pellet. And another little edge, obviously loads of people use this over the last sort of 5 or 6 years, so it's no secret anyway. Tuna, and again, just like the boilie crumb, tuna really does hang in the water column, and then once it all settles on the bottom, it only takes the slightest little bit of disturbance and it's all kicked up, and the fish just love it. Right, it's nicely mixed up. Now, I've just boiled this literally before we started, so it's still nice and hot. And I'm going to add that into there and make myself some real nice sloppy soup. And obviously that hot water just gets everything working that much quicker, breaking everything down, all them scents just soaking into each other, all the pellets and broken boilies and that. Which is absolutely lovely. Get some more water in there. And there's only one other additive that I'm going to put into here, and the reason I haven't added it yet is because I didn't want to burn them, and that is a good handful of ye old faithful maggots. Brilliant at any time of year, but literally like a handful in your mix is enough, just so you've got that little live element in there. Once they get a taste for that, that's it. They can't help but trough and trough and trough. As you can see, that's livened them right up actually. Look, they were all still before I put them in there, that warm water, and they're wriggling all over the show. Right, that is looking absolutely splendid. Let's go and put a few handfuls of that on the money. And you can see as soon as that hits the water, I mean, look at that, you've got that milky, cloudy, just falling through. And anything that's in them reeds, that's got to turn them on, surely. Couple even just a bit further back into the reeds won't hurt. Try and entice them out. All right, that'll do for that. Let's get around to the next spot. So this little spot around here looks ideal. Obviously the reeds poke out a fair bit, so anything moving along this bank's going to be moving off the tip of them. And then also, looks like it's fairly deep in there too, so I can imagine a few fish holding up in amongst them. Again, I'll put a couple of little bits in the reeds, hopefully just to turn one to feeding. Wake them up a little bit. Come on boys, wake up. I know it's cold, but you'll come and feed. Sun's out and everything. Right, I reckon that's enough to get them started anyway. Well, I managed to pull that one out and onto the spot, so I think because I stood 5 foot to the right, obviously there's a little bit more line out. Important, always cast from where you clipped up from. Thankfully I managed to get away with that one. I hit one on the way down then. Always a good sign in the winter. Or any time of year. Well, I've just knocked myself a little bag mix up using the salty chili fish stick mix, some chopped cell, a tin of this stuff, mackerel in tomato sauce. It's really, really stinky, this stuff, really oily, and I just find that it just seems to work all year round. Just one of them scents, it stinks, even on my hands now. It's one of them you struggle to get rid of, but I think that's only a good thing, the fish seem to love that scent. I haven't got any salt in here because there's salt in that bag mix already. I put a couple of handfuls of the pellets in there too. That's another thing with these types of waters, a lot of them are stocked with sort of fish that are grown on fish farms, and they're all fed on pellets, so it's virtually like a natural food to them, so it's always worth including a few in there. And the other little thing I've done is I've literally just crushed up 2 or 3 little fluoro pop-ups, so they're really fine and just into dust, and then mix that in there too. And then obviously once your bag's dissolved on the lake bed, you get tiny little bits of pop-up just floating off of it. Another thing to just try and pull them down. As far as hook baits are concerned today, just using like a little balance bait, 10mm cell, with a little bit of one of them banoffee pop-ups on top of it. And what I'll do is I'll chop the top off of one, put that on there, and then test it in the edge until literally just chopping tiny little bits off of the pop-up until it only just sinks. And then obviously the bag will pull it down to the bottom anyway, and then once it settles, the hook bait will just sit floating above that little bag of goodness, and it literally just takes the tiniest little suck and it's in their mouth. A size 10 wide gape on there, lethal little hooks them. Me and Daryl used to joke that they should be illegal, they're so dangerous. Really sharp and just ideal for this sort of situation really. The other hook bait I'm going to use is just a little 10mm cell, but then I'm just going to get a bit of paste and wrap it around that, just to have a little layer on there, like so. And then obviously the paste, where it hasn't been boiled, kicks off a lot more attraction, there's a lot more goodness in it still. That'll break down gradually as it sits there, and you'll end up, you know, with a little real sort of gooey pile of attraction really. Something that you really just don't see a lot of people doing. You know, these little tubs are available in the shops, they do them in all the different types of flavoured boilies they do. And yeah, it's just a little edge, well worth a try, especially when that water's proper cold. Took a little bit longer than expected to get them going. It's been a good 40 minutes the rods have been out there, and I actually haven't had one liner, which has been very surprising because you know, there's a lot of fish in this lake. I've got a feeling that the majority of them aren't down this end today, but we've got one on, so it's all good. All good in the hood, as long as it stays on, that is. That's a right-hand one off those reeds. Little bit of paste wrapped around a 10mm cell. Looks like a little bit like a ghosty then. Let's see if I can net this without slipping in. Got about 4 foot of water right in the edge there, so it wouldn't be very funny if I did. There it is, ghosty mirror. Buongiorno. Hey, that's a result. There we go, look at that for a little cracker. Little ghosty mirror. It's got some mad little markings on it. Some of these scales along the back there almost look green. As I say, it took sort of 40 minutes or so, but chuffed with that result in the end. Woohoo! Back you go. That's an absolute corker. Well, to be honest with you, I thought I was going to have a couple more bites today. Obviously, when I got here, there was ice on parts of the lake, so that water temperature is still ridiculously cold. But I think the main thing is that I'm not on the bulk of the fish. As far as I'm aware, you know, a lot of them normally hold up in these reeds. But I'd say today, by the fact that I'm getting hardly any liners, I'd say that, you know, they're obviously holding up, or the majority of them are certainly, in another part of the lake. If I had a little bit longer, I'd be dotting along, you know, having an hour in a couple of different swims, just trying to hunt them down. But I haven't, because I'm off to do a couple of nights on the old Syndicate Lake. I do really enjoy these little short sessions on these type of waters. What I find is, you know, when there's lots of fish in the lake, there's always some way of catching them. And obviously when you're doing these short sessions, you're not committing to anything, so you can mess about with different tactics, you know, playing around with zigs or different bag mixes, or, as I say, location I think is the main key. If I was here for the whole day today, I'd be dotting along and trying to find that main pack of fish. So you don't have to go out for 24 hours or 48 hours. Sometimes it can be great fun just to get out for a few hours at a time. Oh, well, I knew I was going to go over at one point today. It's only a matter of time. Oh, well, he ain't got any reeds. Oh, I think he has. Oh no, he's got in the reeds and come off. Oh, gutted. And rather dirty too. Oh well, nice way to end the session. Not.